The win against Oklahoma, or sorry, against Georgia, just what have you seen from the guys since then? A little extra juice in the building, just finally getting that first one. How has the team kind of responded the last couple days?
Yeah, anytime you get a win, it feels great. It's a good feeling, obviously. So it was good to see some of the other guys. Carter Knox, I thought was unbelievable in that win. Just how hard he played, how physical he was, and his ability to go to offensive glass and make free throws. So it was good to see some of those guys get an opportunity and then come through in an SEC game.
The assist numbers were low. I know that's something we've all kind of written about. Only six, but really only three players dished out assists too. Is that something you've been talking about? Like, not only those numbers need to go up, but you need to get contributions from across the roster, maybe in some ball sharing and everything like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime you can share the ball, it's a good thing for your team. We uh, we got to get used to not playing, obviously, with Boogie here. So that makes it a little bit, challenging for the next few days until you can get acclimated to the new lineup. But I think the kids are looking for one another. They're trying to move the ball. They're trying to share the ball. But again, the one thing that really stood out to me was our ability to rebound the ball on the glass, and then our ability to make free throws at the end of the game were incredible.
You guys went with Big Z, I think, to close the game, and all the bigs kind of had their moments of impact in the second half. I mean, what was, if you don't mind, what was kind of the decision making and rolling with Z particular there at the end of the game, and what's it like? Just kind of you got these three guys who do such different things, figuring out who is the best night to night against each matchup.
Yeah, you mentioned it. All three of them had great moments. Like if you watch the film, which we have, we watched it two or three times. TB was unbelievable on the offensive glass. Defensively, his length, his ability to disrupt. Jonas did the same thing. His length and presence in the posts makes it really, really difficult for for rim protection. And then Z just had a good energy about him. He had a good energy. He allowed us to move the ball a little bit, becomes another facilitator. And I think one of the key moments in that game was at the end of the first half. It just gave us a spark when he hit that three going into halftime.
Budge?
Yeah, Coach, you mentioned rebounding there. It was y'all's best offensive rebounding game of the year by far. Just kind of what went into that?
We've talked about it obviously throughout the year, and Carter Knox was a big part of it. A dude does an unbelievable job going to the glass, and we asked Carter and the other bigs like, hey, you gotta commit to going to the glass and really trying to put effort into this. And I give Carter a lot of credit and TB, all our bigs, all of those guys. But I mentioned Carter because he's the youngest of the group, and he just for him to go rebound the ball and in the manner that he did, in the moments that he did, it's great to see his development in real time.
And speaking of the game tomorrow, just what have y'all seen on film from Oklahoma? Kind of what challenges do they present?
They're a good team. They've had some good wins early in the year. I think they beat Arizona early on in the year. I think Georgia Tech they beat early on in the year. If I'm not mistaken, at 14-2. They lost to, I think, Texas by 4, Texas A&M by 2. So they could very easily be 3-1, maybe even 4-0. So they're a really good team. This is just an unbelievable league. They want to push the ball, get up and down in transition. Their guard play is really, really good. They're going to come in here and be super, super physical, play really, really hard. So it's an SEC game.
Anthony?
Yeah, you mentioned earlier, playing without Bogey. I know, obviously, you guys put out the statement that he's out indefinitely. John Rothstein put out a report that he's out for the season. Can you confirm that? Are you guys still expecting him to be back, or what do you?
No, I mean, I can't confirm any of that stuff. All I know is we're going day to day, and we know that the surgery went really, really well. And the guys in the locker room are excited that his surgery went well, and those guys are excited about an opportunity to step up, next man up and see what happens.
And you mentioned Carter and just his performance against Georgia, just particularly in that second half when he was driving and getting to the free throw line so much. Just what kind of emphasis did you guys tell him to put on driving, and just how impressive was it to see him have that?
He's such a big kid. He's 6'7", strong, physical, athletic kid. When he drives the ball, he decides to get to the rim. it's hard for people to stay in front of him. And obviously, we saw that the other night against Georgia. He did an unbelievable job of attacking the rim. And then, the second part of that is you can attack the rim and get fouled, but you got to finish the possession off with free throws or a layup. And he finished at the rim and finished with free throws, which was incredible for us and for him.
And I know you guys are used to, seeing, high level quality freshmen. Jeremiah Fears for Oklahoma is, among the best in the country. Just what have you guys seen from him on film, and what does he kind of bring to the game that you guys are going to have to deal with?
Aggressive driver trying to get downhill, does a great job of probing in the half court and pick and roll action. And for someone his size, does an unbelievable job of finishing at the rim. So we got to try to keep him outside the paint, obviously sprint back and transition, form a wall, and, play really hard, rebound the ball when it goes up and go the other way.
You guys have dealt with, your share of injury concerns throughout the, the offseason and now into the season, just, with the, scrimmage issues and everything like that. Have any of those other guys, I guess the reserves, maybe worked their way closer to the rotation at all, just to maybe give you guys some more depth, or is that just kind of a little TBD at the moment?
We've had this situation throughout the season. I don't think we've played a game with the full roster. So it seems like every other game is someone else is out. Obviously early on in the season, Nelly missed a game or two, and Jonas Adu was banged up a little bit. So we've been able to deal with this throughout the entire year. So it's been the norm this year. It's been the norm. We've been able to just kind of roll with it.
That's all for me. Thank you very much.
Eric.
Coach, at times when we've heard Coach Calipari talk, he's mentioned that this has been kind of a year that's been, frustrating for the players, and I'm sure it's been frustrating for you as well. And he's always mentioning the learning process. But for the coaches, what are the things that you have had to learn this year? What things have you guys had to adjust in order to help things get turned around?
Oh, I think, we mentioned 2 seconds ago, some of the injuries we've had throughout the year. It's almost like coaching a new team every 2 weeks. So making adjustments on style of play on the offensive end of the ball, style of play on the defensive end of the ball. So I think that's kind of how it feels, at least for me. Every 2 weeks, you got a new team. Early in the year, we were missing the bigs, so we were playing with a small lineup. Then we got the bigs back, and then we had a few injuries to our guards. So then we start playing with a bigger lineup. So it seems like you've got a brand new team every 2 weeks, every time there's an injury. But, Coach Cal's done an unbelievable job of making those adjustments. And, Georgia a week ago was a top 23. I think they were 23rd in the country. And, they had some unbelievable wins in their own right. And Coach Cal did an unbelievable job in a short window to tweak a few things, make a few adjustments. And for us to win that game without Boogie was unbelievable. So, we're learning every day what our team is capable of doing and how we need to play with the roster that we have right now.
Butch.
Yeah, going back to Boogie, I saw I think the statement said that he was going to come back and work with y'all's trainers. Has he made it back to Fayetteville yet, or is he still recovering back in New York?
He hasn't made it back, but I know he's on his way back here soon.
How good is that to have him, even though he's not playing, to have that, on the sideline coaching guys up? I mean, how beneficial is that?
Oh, I think it's great for us, but I think it's also great for him. Make sure that he stays engaged and connected and make him feel like he's still a part of something.
And the last thing I got is Oklahoma had an open date this week. They've had a full week to prepare for this game. Just how big of an impact do you think that is for them? And then on the flip side of it, y'all get a full week next week. Is y'all looking forward to maybe having an open date?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not on their staff, so I don't know how they view it. I know for us, maybe it gives us a day or two to maybe recover and let our bodies rest a little bit and get some rehab, and then also gives us a chance to take a look at film and prepare for the next opponent. But as of right now, we're just locked in on tomorrow night.
Jackson.
Yeah, one more for me, Chuck. Cal was super impressed with Jonell after the game on Wednesday, and the shooting numbers weren't special, but it did seem like he had a positive impact. What have you seen from watching the film, and what maybe did he do well that even if the shooting wasn't perfect, like you guys are still really happy with his performance?
Yeah, Nelly was super active defensively. If you watch the film, he must have had 5 or 6 deflections, maybe 2 steals. And the times where he didn't get a steal, he caused a deflection or the steal for the opponent for a teammate. He just looked confident. Again, I know his numbers don't reflect it, but sometimes the threat of the three is greater than the actual three. And when you watch the film, anytime he got a look, you can tell the defense is reacting to him. So they clearly respect his ability to make shots. And he's not going to go, 1 for 10 again. I mean, I would guess that that's probably not going to happen. He had some good looks. Coach ran some great action. I thought Cal ran some great action for him, and it's just a matter of time. He'll make those shots. We believe in him.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank
Eric,
you.
Eric, you still have another question?
Yeah, I did. Coach, I want to ask about the mental toughness of this team because you guys have said all year long that they haven't quit. And they really haven't quit in games. They just haven't got the results. What I wanted to know was how big was it for them to get the result on Wednesday with all that hard work and hanging around in games? And two, how do you get them to build off what they did on Wednesday night against Georgia?
Yeah, like you mentioned it. This group has been resilient all year. They faced obstacles and injuries and guys in the lineup, out the lineup, and they haven't quit. They really haven't. It was great for them to experience the reward of not giving in the other night. And I think more importantly, they gave our fan base a chance to see what we have been saying all along, that these are a great group of kids. They're fighting hard. They're coming into practice every day, trying to get better. And it was great to see that in real time against Georgia. And, like anything else, anytime you win, it breeds confidence. You start to believe a little bit more and start to get excited about the next opponent.
Anthony?
Yeah, one of the things Coach Calipari had mentioned he was maybe concerned with heading into SEC play after non-conference ended was the physicality. And I felt against Georgia, it was maybe your guys' best performance from a physical standpoint in SEC play. Just how have you seen the guys adjust to that to this point, and how do you kind of keep building on that going forward?
Yeah, it's a great question. Georgia's one of the better rebounding teams in the country, particularly, obviously in the SEC. It's a war every night. So for us to out rebound them and then for us to go to the offensive glass, and, rebounding is an indicator of toughness. And if we can rebound and out rebound Georgia in an SEC game the way we did the other night, it's an indication that we have toughness. And we're, for our young guys and our new guys who have never played in this league, it takes some time for them to get accustomed to the athleticism, the size, the physicality. And I think we all saw that the other night, that they're starting to make that adjustment, obviously, in Carter. We talked about Nelly's deflections and being aggressive defensively. Z's gotten stronger in the low post. He continues to protect the rim. Jonas is, all defensive player a year ago. And TB's been amazing. He doesn't get enough credit. What he can do, he can switch 1 through 5. And, Billy was unbelievable the other night. People don't give him enough credit. He came into the game and ran our team for 2 or 3 minutes. He got us in action. He defended the ball 90 feet. Billy was unbelievable the other night. So, these guys are learning and getting better every day.